I just found this website that saves dying axolotls and lets you buy them so you can help save them too. But I've seen videos of people ordering from here, and some of the axolotls they get are in really rough shape. I have no idea what condition the one I'm gonna get is gonna be in, but I want to do my part to help. Hopefully we'll still be able to save it. Let's add this to the cart. And of course, I paid extra for 1-day delivery, so this axolotl didn't have to spend any extra time in this box. Oh, I really hope this axolotl is okay. Okay, there's ice packs. That's a good sign it's packaged well. Now for the moment of truth, let's see this axolotl. The axolotl was alive, and so I quickly brought it over to this temporary tank so I could put her inside and get a better look. She was a beautiful black axolotl, almost 10 inches long, meaning this thing was fully grown. Now I actually went and emailed the people I bought this from, and they told me when they got it, this axolotl was found at a pet shop. And when they got it, it had these massive white spots on it and even a chunk of its tail missing. But axolotls are amazing because they're one of the few animals that are able to regrow limbs literally from nothing. It's insane. And this girl had already made a substantial amount of progress in healing her tail, as you can see. But they also said that she's not fully recovered yet, and they said to add this chemical called a stress guard, which I have right here, as you can see. And yeah, basically this stuff will add a little bit of a slime coat to the axolotl's skin and help it recover even faster in this temporary tank. So it's my goal to get this axolotl fully thriving again by the end of the video, and while we wait for the stress guard to take effect, let's build its dream home, which every axolotl tank of course starts with the floor, which we'll start by adding in a layer of this aqua soil that will give the proper nutrients to all the cool plants we're gonna add in here. Then we're gonna cover that with a layer of sand so the soil won't make the water dirty at all. But for this build, I've got these. Like a bunch of black crystal rock stuff that I can just go and scatter all over the sand. Obviously, our rescue axolotl has this unique dark color. So for this whole enclosure, we're gonna be matching that theme as much as I can. As you can see, I got super small black rocks that are almost like sand, medium-sized pebbles, and even large stones, which adds a ton of variety all over the sand. Very nice. But now the tank needs some big rocks, and as you can see, I've got a few different types. But the choice of which to use is clear. You see, axolotls have super delicate skin that can easily scrape on stuff, and especially our rescue axolotl cannot afford to get scraped while he heals. So I'm going to use the smoothest stones here with no rough edges, which I put a few of those on the side, and I also got out some of these pieces of wood and kind of played around with them to see which style I liked most, and I ended up deciding on this with the two long pieces of branches on the two sides. But as you can see, I've kept the middle of this enclosure completely empty. That's because secondly, I'm going to be building an axolotl cave, which yes, will literally be a cave that looks like an axolotl's head, well, I mean, that's the plan at least. I don't know how well it's gonna go. And building this for the axolotl is gonna be perfect because in the wild, they absolutely love dark sheltered areas because it keeps them safe from predators. And I guess caves are made out of rocks, so I'll just start kind of stacking them around here. I bought a bunch of rocks, as you can see. And after measuring how wide the cave was gonna be, I decided to build it outside of the tank to make it easier. Basically, the plan is we line up the rocks in a kind of circular shape, and then we get out some spray foam and, well, we just start spraying to connect them all. Yeah, I love spray foam so much because it's so useful for all of my aquarium builds. Anyways, I continued to stack the rocks up more and more with spray foam till it ended up looking sort of like the shape of an axolotl head. We got the mouth as the entrance to the cave. Then I put on some giant googly eyes to, obviously be the eyes. And finally, axolotls, of course, have these little hairy things coming out of the side of their head. These are actually the axolotl's gills, which let it breathe, which obviously we had to put on this cave, so I got some of these dark red pipe cleaners and kind of just stuck them on the side of the rocks. Alright, but as you can tell, this is obviously a little bit tacky. I mean, the spray foam is basically like a different color than the rocks. So that's why I'm gonna add some paint. And don't worry, I double checked to make sure this is aquarium safe once it dries. The last thing we need is paint toxicity for our injured axolotl. So yeah, I went and carved off all the excess spray foam and painted the parts that I thought would make it look better. And anyways, here is the final axolotl cave. And as you can tell, it's basically a one-on-one replica of our axolotl. So I went and put it inside, and well, boom, it is done. But you see, the coolest thing about this axolotl cave is if we go off and turn off, all the lights, the eyes glow in the dark, kinda. And it's not even that dark in here. If it was pitch black, this would be kind of scary to be looking at night, I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, before the rest of the build, you're probably wondering how the axolotl is doing. Well, she's actually doing really good. It's been about 8 hours since putting her in here, and you can tell she was being way more active, walking around thanks to that stress guard. But I've been doing even more research on how to heal the axolotl, and a lot of people are saying to use Indian almond leaves in the water. I didn't even know what those were, but I went out and bought some, of course. Whatever I can do to give the axolotl his best health, I will do.
too. And I guess you just put them inside like that and then just mix it around. Okay.
Immediately, you can see the leaves provided a little bit of cover above the axolotl, which probably helps her feel safer, but it also starts to slowly turn the water a cloudy tea color. Basically, this is because the leaves are spreading this thing called tannins around into the water, which is just some natural thing that helps the axolotl's skin get even healthier. Nice.
And if you didn't already know, axolotls literally don't need any sort of land area in their tanks, which of course I know because in the new TerraGreen activity bucket, there's an entire page dedicated to axolotls where it says that and also some other fun facts, and it even has a little activity at the bottom. So if you like my channel and you want to learn more about nature and also have tons of fun activities, make sure to check this book out. The people that have already bought it have been loving it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for supporting it.
Anyways, while that goes into effect, the next step for the tank is DIY decorations. And this time I've got a really good plan for tons of unique ones to make.
And this first one's kind of not a decoration, but it's this thing. It's a circular air bubble maker, and it should give oxygen to this whole tank.
And I was just gonna go and put it inside, but I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wanted to see what it looked like in action before we filled up the tank. So I put it in this temporary one and check it out. Oh yeah, look at the bubbles. I don't know why every time I put one of these in my tanks, it makes me excited. And yeah, I kind of was just playing around with it a little bit too much, watching the bubbles go in weird directions. Anyways, that's enough fooling around, back to work. Now for the next DIY decoration, I got a brick and chisels again. Yep, a couple videos ago, I tried to make a fish statue by carving it out, and it looked super good and super realistic, as you can see.
Well, one of you guys commented saying I should make an axolotl statue, so let's see how this goes.
So first of all, I sketched out how it was gonna look, and this time I got out a professional carving kit. And yep, I don't know what any of these tools do, but I immediately got to work. Once again, I refuse to watch any sort of tutorial on how to properly do this, and that might have been reflected in my work quality because this stone was way harder to carve out than the one before. And even this is super sped up. If you see the real speed of how slow I was going, you could probably understand how painful this was. So I decided to just call it finished here.
All right, check it out. As you can see, it is absolutely, I mean, it's really good. This could easily belong in the museums besides the other greatest works of art. Actually, guys, I'm just kidding. This looks like the stupidest caveman tried to like draw a lizard on the side of his cave. It's not very good. Hey, it was still kind of fun to build, so I'm just gonna plop that right there. And if you think my sculpting work is super good, go ahead and leave a comment saying what I should build next. I might try one more, and I don't really know if it's gonna go too well.
I also put on some googly eyes because, of course, everything needs googly eyes to look good. Now for the final DIY technology, it's gonna be a custom plaque.
Which, yup, I've got right here. And I'm gonna go and hang it right above the tank so I always know what's inside of here.
So don't worry, I won't be replicating how bad the statue was, so this time I will really be taking my time to follow the outline of this picture. To make the drawing on the plaque, I first drew the pattern out of pencil, and if I thought any part looked bad, I erased it and redrew it. And by the end, the outline was pretty similar to the one on my phone. And don't worry, I know you can barely see this, so in order to actually engrave it into the plaque, I now had to use this wood burning thing. Basically, the end of this pen is like a bajillion degrees hot, and it literally burns the pattern into the wood. It's kind of like what I did in my camouflaged mantis video when I made the sticks black, but yeah, just much more controlled, and it didn't take too long to finish it all up. I even went and wrote what I was gonna name the axolotl at the top of the plaque.
Yep, I'm naming it Black's the Axe. A lotl in parentheses. Because obviously, it's a black axolotl. I feel like that name fits and it rhymes. Black's the Axe. Anyways, let's hang this up.
So I went and hung it above the tank, and now we can actually focus on making this tank look good again with our final step, which is some plants. Now I'd love for the plants in here to match the black theme, but unfortunately black plants mean dead plants. So I'm gonna have to stick to some old-fashioned blue plants. I mean green plants. They don't have blue plants. So you already know the drill. I drove to Petco, pretty much bought out their entire stock. And by the way, sorry to anyone that needs to get plants here after I visit. I always buy all the good ones. And I brought them back home. Now for some reason, I forgot to click record on my camera during the planting process. But just imagine this is what it looked like. I took the plants, put them in the sand, and I did that with all of them. Yep, pretty revolutionary stuff. Then I filled it with cycled water, which I also forgot to record, but by the end, it looked like this. And well, everything on this list is now complete, meaning it's time to get the axolotl inside and do tons of other fun stuff with him to give him the best life after being injured.
Oh, Blacks, I got some good news for you. I don't know if you've ever been in a proper enclosure, but what I'm about to add you to definitely is.
So I brought my new friend over to the enclosure and let him free. Immediately, he was already super active, exploring around the whole thing, which was a good sign.
But I'm gonna be obviously doing more than just watching this guy. I have all these fun things that I want to test with this guy real quick. And the first one is food. Let's test 3 different food sources, starting with this. It's some like freeze-dried bloodworms. Yeah, let me unpackage these.
The goal is to see how quickly Blacks will eat each food source to see which she likes the most. And well, with these bloodworms, she was actually pretty interested, because after like a second, she saw them and snapped, but she missed them. So she tried another attempt at eating them and failed again. But finally, she did actually get a hold of the rest of the worm, and boom, that only took like 10 seconds. Yeah, and she also looked so cute and happy after eating that. Dang, she must have been hungry.
All right, he ate those pretty dang quick, but I have a feeling he's gonna eat these ones even faster. These are proper earthworms, basically. Yeah, let's see how long this one takes.
And this time, the axolotl must have set a world record, because it only took a little over 1 second for her to get a hold of this worm and start devouring it. I mean, let's get an instant replay on that. Nah, look, she was ready for that worm, and yep, she was even happier after having this in her mouth, because it must have tasted spectacular.
Okay, well, the third food source is these things. They're axolotl pellets. I have a feeling that he's not gonna like eat it as fast as those worms. That was like literally under a second, but let's try.
Now this time, let's just say the axolotl wasn't too interested, because it took seconds before she even did anything. But she did end up putting her nose right up to the pellet to figure out what was in front of her. You see, axolotls have pretty bad eyesight, so they usually rely on their nose to scope out stuff. And here, after giving the pellet a very, very thorough sniff, she eventually took a bite at it, tasted it in her mouth for like a second, and ultimately spat it back out. Okay, I guess she doesn't like pellets. But hey, this is good knowledge. I know to stick with the worms now. Anyways, about 10 minutes later, I noticed Blacks had walked herself into the axolotl cave that I'd built for her. Seems like she was just gonna chill in here for a bit. Hey, I'm glad she's liking it and using it.
Now for the final thing I want to test with the axolotl that's currently in the cave is, well, a GoPro. Yep, I've got a GoPro that I'm gonna stick underwater and do some fun stuff with it. All right, click record, and let's switch to this camera, baby. Okay, I'm gonna start going underwater.
And yeah, after getting it to the bottom and kind of just sticking it inside the cave, you can see the axolotl's body was actually right here. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see since the axolotl matches the color of the rocks, but yeah, she was just chilling in here. To see if I could lure her out, I actually went and picked up some more of her favorite food, which is the worms, of course. At first, I was kind of just waving them around in there, but she didn't really see them. Well, that was until this, when I put the worm a little deeper in, and just like that, the axolotl took it straight from my grip and was now devouring it. Yep, Blacks will never pass up on the opportunity to eat a nice juicy worm, and she was not letting me grab it back, so I decided to just let her have it. Anyways, now the final thing on the list is to relocate the tank into another room.
Yep, guys, I get so many comments of you guys asking what I do with my animals after the videos. Well, the answer is, with a lot of the cooler ones, like my frilled dragon, for example, and Switch the chameleon, I just kind of keep in random areas of the house, as you can see. Oh, you're such a good boy, Switch. Such a good boy.
But obviously, with all of my videos, it's hard to keep every single animal, so a lot of them I end up donating, so I don't have every single animal still.
But starting with Blacks the axolotl, I'm gonna be keeping every animal from my videos and building them up all in this room, so by the next video, there'll be Mr. Prehistoric, Switch, and I'll also get some of the other animals in here. So yeah, this is gonna be sick. Make sure to subscribe to see the room build up, and also remember, check out the TerraGreen activity book. We spent a long time making it, and yeah, everyone that's bought it has been super happy with it. So yeah, make sure to check it out, and thank you so much for watching the video. We saved that axolotl. Let's go, baby.